Okay, all right. So if they are employed, it has an impact on the wage bill. Then
yes,
what?
Yes. Let me explain. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we are looking at this conference. When we look at our ratio of teacher to students in the education sector, or healthcare to population, or even security sector, we still need to recruit in those sectors. We have not reached the required ratios. For us to reach those required ratios, it means that we must look at the wage bill in totality and say, can we afford to continue increasing? We have not even recruited enough, right? So the conversation is not about pay more to the ones you have. The conversation we should be having is how can we ensure that we are able, as a country, to recruit more healthcare workers, more teachers, more security sector. And the only way to do that is then to look at the current wage bill and see what do we need to do to get it to the correct ratio. So that is the conversation, Sam. It's not about don't pay the doctors more.
Right.
It's about how do we get to what the law requires, 35% of revenue.
Okay. All right. And I want us to spend some time now to understand how that wage bill has become. And there are some figures that I wanted us to take a look at that would guide us into this conversation. And, well, it might look complicated. This is actually from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. And it shows the wage bill and how it has been moving since the year 2017-2018. At that time, the total costs was 785 billion shillings. The revenue was 1.5 trillion shillings, so that was 51.54%. That is the wage bill to revenue ratio. It went up higher in 2020-2021 to 54.77%, but has been declining since the year 2021-2022 up to now. At the moment, we are talking about 46.44% for 2022-2023, which I believe is an estimate based on your figures. And still, you have 1.1 trillion being the wage bill. When you look at that table, it appears that the absolute figures of the wage bill actually keep rising. What is changing is the denominator, which is the revenue. So we are reducing the wage bill to revenue ratio by increasing revenue, not necessarily cutting on the cost of running government.
The reason why you see that is if you look at those statistics, and you rightly say it was shared, if you look at the average cost per employee, it has only been rising by 2%. Yeah, cost per employee is 2%. And the numbers, you will see that the numbers of the public officers has been increasing. Reason being that we must continue recruiting in certain specific areas, as mentioned earlier, education, healthcare, security, because we have a growing population. We are a developing country. So what you see there is that in absolute terms, the wage bill amount has gone up. As a ratio, it has been coming down. Where you saw a spike is because of the COVID, during the COVID period.
Right.
So obviously revenue went down. So it's not just a question of revenue, it's both. And that is, the way you see that is when you then look at the average cost per employee, and you see that it is almost a constant 2%, whereas the actual number is higher. So that is the reason. So it's actually both. Revenue has been going up. The absolute amount per employee has more or less been managed over the period. And then it is whatever is growing is actually recruitment at specific sectors. But our concern then is there are other sectors that are growing that actually we need to ask ourselves, why do we need to grow on those sectors? Okay. But we can understand the three.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then when you say that the target, of course, the PFM Act requires that the wage bill has to